It's the Hip Hop School.
It's that time.
Past and present podcast.
It's that time.
All regions stand up.
On your feet.
North, South,
everywhere.
East,
where you at?
West, Midwest.
You
Where you
know
at?
the rule. Act a fool. You gotta be tight with your tool when you go to the hip hop school. Be grown in the crime called Prima Fur and Deja Rude, child. Get out your feelings, you get booed at the hip hop school. You know the rule. Act a fool. You gotta be tight with your tool when you go to the hip hop school. Nigga can't be mad cause you got swag and easy cool. Bitch, your motherfucking problem, knowledge rule at the hip hop school. You know the rule. Act a fool. You gotta be tight with your tool when you go to the hip hop school. Can't look like that cause mental son got artifacts. The truth is cruel, but that's just fuel at the hip hop school. Past and present.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop School Past and Present podcast. I am your girl, Asia, the assistant principal. You have Supreme Ron in the building, which is the principal. Keezy, the dean of hip hop. And below me, you have Rakeem Shabazz, the God Rakeem Shabazz from Widely on TV, joining us this evening. I hear something in the background, some echoing in the background. Y'all hear that?
I don't hear it.
It's probably just me.
Might be just you.
But that's neither here nor there. Like we do each and every week, we start the show off with a hip hop trivia question. This week, hip hop trivia question is, what does K-A-N-E and Big Daddy Kane stand for? Again, what does K-A-N-E and Big Daddy Kane stand for? This week, hip hop trivia question is brought to you by our sponsor, Supreme's Pull Up, art by N.G.E, the Uhuru Academy, Lit and Leisure Travel, and the Death of Asia. I answer that question throughout the duration of the show. At the end of the show, we will reveal the answer. With that being said, class is in session.
Class in session. What's happening?
Peace.
It's Monday, baby.
What up, brother Rakeem?
Peace, God.
Peace to the God.
Peace,
Happy to be here, man. I love the show. Just want to say, man, I appreciate it's an honor to be on here. I'm loving what y'all doing. I remember when it was just a group of us talking shit about music and to see it come to what it is now, man, it's a beautiful thing. So I'm definitely honored to be on it.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you for coming, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Definitely honor too, brother.
Yeah.
To have someone with such prestige and knowledge and information to come on the show, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I do things in humility, man. So I appreciate it, God.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely with this topic, you'll be able to help us navigate this particular topic with us talking about the influence of the 5%ers in hip hop. And you're part of the nation of gods on earth. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to tell the people what are some of the principles or ideologies of the nation of gods and earth?
Yeah, no doubt. So we have what's called supreme. We have a set of lessons, right? And so we have what's called supreme mathematics, which is a system of principles that are, each number is attached to principles, such as 1 is knowledge, 2 is wisdom, 3 is understanding, 4 is culture, 5 is power, 6 is equality, 7 is God, 8 is build or destroy, 9 is born, and when it gets to 10, it's knowledge add cipher. So we have that, and we use that principle each day to create our reality for the day, to stay grounded, to stay focused. Like today's mathematics would be God, which is the supreme being, black man, the controller of the universe, his own universe, right? And so after that, you have a supreme alphabet, which is the same type of thing, where each letter, 26 letters within the alphabet, have a principle to it. Allah, be a born, see, divine, that kind of thing. Then we are so, as if you know anything about the Nation of Islam, you know they have what's called supreme wisdom, which is a question and answer. It's a group of lessons, a set of lessons that were questions and answers from W.D. Farad and Elijah Muhammad. And so when the father left the mosque, he was in temple number 7, in Harlem, which was also the home of, people like Malcolm X and Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so whenever he left the mosque, he took 120. Well, he took Supreme Wisdom. We call it 120. There are a few differences, but there are a few differences. But we call it 120. And so what he did was, before, you would have to be a registered member of the Nation of Islam to get those lessons. And so he saw a need for it in the 5 boroughs, starting with Harlem, which we call Mecca. He saw a need for the children, who are still in the street, who, may not have fathers, who may have some addiction issues, who may have, just in a bad situation. We got to think of what things were like in 63 and 64 and for Black people, period, right? And so he felt like these lessons would help clean the youth up and help give them some direction. And so when he began to do that, word began to spread, the youth began to teach other youth, and then, he became affectionately known as the father, due to the fact that he was somewhat of a father figure to a lot of these youth. His name was Allah. Whenever he left the mosque, whenever he was in the mosque, he was Clarence 13X, which means he was the 13th brother in Harlem Temple number 7 with the name Clarence. But Allah, whenever he was on the street, the main thing was to teach the youth, to teach the babies, and help give them some direction whenever they didn't have it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that insight and that breakdown to give people a perspective of what the Nation of Gods and Earth is, because throughout hip hop, we have heard a lot of the references being made in the music. We had artists called, like, especially in the golden era, there were a lot of artists that were referencing themselves as God, and they used the supreme mathematics in their lyrics and everything like that. And one thing that I noticed about those people back in the day who were a part of the Nation, Gods and Earth, is that they were actually like street cats. Yeah. A lot of them were street cats. So it's interesting that you made mention that, Allah was one of those people who went out in the streets and was touching the youth. So that's an important thing that we want to harp on as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you ever, for people, for the Christian family that may be watching, it's the same thing as Jesus and the company that he kept. They said that he hung with the lepers and the lames. He hung with the people that needed him. I think the Bible says, but only the sick need a physician, right? And so the street, that's where
the ratchet
done. Yeah. Exactly.
What would you say to those people who was consider it to be blasphemous for people to call themselves God? Because I know in the Nation of Gods and Earth, number 7 stand for God, and the men who subscribe to the Nation of Gods and Earth, they call themselves God. So what would you say to some of those people out there who would say that that's blasphemous to call yourself God?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's the whole science of it, is the fact that the ability to take the spookism out of what you consider God is empowering to a lot of people, right? Meaning, you got to think about it at this time. We're dealing with, unemployment. We're dealing with addiction. We're dealing with, housing issues. We're dealing with all types of inequalities throughout our society, and we still are. You know what I mean? And so, but especially around this time, and so whenever you have, and so the religious, Abrahamic religions, especially, Judaism, Christianity, and Orthodox Islam, you are taught to pray and ask God, Allah, Jesus, whoever your deity is, instead of going out and doing for self. And so what it did was to take the mystery out of God and to place the responsibility on yourself. If you're not where you want to be, then that comes with the understanding of where, if I'm not where I want to be now, I can get to where I want to be, because I'm the only one that's going to get me to where I want to be. There's no outside entity that's going to shape and mold my life and, put a job on my lap, or, make sure my children eat. You know, that's one of the lessons. Why did we set up home and wait? Why does it's about setting up home and waiting for a mystery God to bring you food? And the answer is emphatically now cypher. And so when we understand that the responsibility is ours, it's more of a thing to where you can't blame anybody except yourself. Whenever you're
That's
not
a powerful message.
Yeah. And I think you know, like for my own growth and development, just to come to that understanding, it gave me the power in order to do what I needed to do to change my life. Because you know, we all were young before and heading down some hill directions at times. You know what I mean? And so, you know, whatever works for the next man, I'm all for it. I'm not a zealot, right? And so I respect and appreciate other people's paths. This path for me is what allowed me to do what I needed to do to resurrect my life. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this, because you say it started in New York, pretty much, you know, East Coast kind of thing. And you being from, where you from, North Carolina?
Yeah,
Texas?
I've Texas for about 25, 30 years. So
okay, so how did you come into the knowledge then, being that you wasn't from the Mecca, so to speak?
Yeah, that's and especially being in the South. So like,
right,
what I was doing, man, I was searching, I was looking for something, right? Because I had gotten to a point in my life where I wasn't happy with myself, right? I wasn't happy with the direction I was going in. And so I tried a lot of different things, right? I went to the Nation of Islam Mosque, which I, you know, got some valuable jewels from them, and I built some great relationships with some of those brothers there, but it just wasn't for me. And so like I don't know, I think I had the same idea that a lot of people had, is sometimes we feel like just because we are in the deep South that there isn't knowledge of self and consciousness going on.
Right.
That's not true. You just gotta know where it's at, right? And so they had a website, N.G.E Sudan, right? Divine Allah, that's Dallas, Texas. Okay. And so I sent a message out on one of the message boards, and my educator, our God be Allah, hit me up the same day, and ever since then I've been rocking with him. But it was and I think Supreme Ra knows a lot of the gods as well, because you know he got
Supreme Ra.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, but you know, that's a good question, because a lot of times we think that knowledge itself is just an up north thing. You know, we got to realize that the father was from Danville, Virginia. You know, Elijah Muhammad was from Sandersonville, Georgia. You know, a lot of powerful brothers came from the South. You know what I mean?
Muhammad from Houston.
Yeah, exactly.
Were there any rap artists that piqued your interest as you were obtaining knowledge of self and you were getting this information? Was there any artists that were 5%ers at the time that piqued your interest, that you gravitated towards?
Yeah, I think there's a few. Like in the beginning, you know, hip hop, as far as conscious hip hop, in the 80s and 90s, it was either coming from a 5% perspective or a Pan-African / Black nationalist perspective. And I fucked with it all, right? Like, and so it was something that kind of happened on a subconscious level, right? Because I'm a child. I was born in 80. And so when I'm watching the evolution of hip hop and I'm hearing, you know, Just Ice, and I'm hearing Public Enemy and hearing Brand Nubian, they are, in a sense, indoctrinating me with concepts,
for sure,
that I hadn't you know, heard before, right? And then so when I got older, then you start, hey, you listen again, you're like, okay, so what are they talking about? But I would say Brand Nubian definitely one of them. And they weren't even, although they weren't 5%ers, I just think the cultural impact of wanting to get knowledge itself. I have to mention Public Enemy. Yeah, you know, and even at one time, I think Chuck D was Fruit of Islam. But I would say Brand Nubian. I would say definitely Wu-Tang in '93. Who else? You know, and here's the thing. Some of them, some artists, they weren't 5%ers. They were influenced by 5%ers themselves. So we would hear Nas, and we would hear, you know, Busta Rhymes. Well, Busta Rhymes, I guess he's 5%.
Yeah,
You know,
some people who I don't know, they kind of claimed it at one point. Then it seemed like they ain't really affiliated. You know what I mean? So it's kind of tricky.
Hold on, and Rakim and Kane. I can't forget
Rakim a lot.
I can't forget Rakim. I think that's for me that was the biggest one. Just because like you have somebody who at this time was arguably at the top of the game. I know the conversation is him, Kane, and G-Rap for a lot of people, but for me, he was the best. And I go back and listen now and hear the shit he was kicking and like, damn, you know, like he was definitely ahead of his time. So whenever I got older and I started wanting to, you know, seek out things, the answers to the questions that we all have as Black people, I start reading and I get introduced to these different things, and then I'm start the concepts that they were talking about. Like, yo, I heard that before. I heard that here. I heard that there.
Right.
So,
heard it in a song already.
Yeah. You know, like on the show that I do, I've interviewed a lot of 5%ers, and especially even the ones from New York, but especially the ones not from New York. When I asked them, you know, what kind of sparked you, you know, to get on your path of knowledge itself, a lot of time it was a hip hop artist.
It was music. Yeah.
I can definitely attest to that, man. That's what started my journey of knowledge itself, was listening to Public Enemy. You know what I'm saying? And Carrier's one too. I throw in Carrier's one too. I remember Chuck D used to rap about Farrakhan and Elijah Muhammad.
Yep.
And I was like, man, who is this nigga talking about? He always mentioning these people and he's showing reverence to these people. So I asked my mama one day, I'm like, I'm about 13, 14. Say, mama, who was Farrakhan? She say, oh, that's that Muslim leader. Go ask your daddy. He know about him.
Yeah.
So my daddy was like, he come on the radio every Sunday on Soul 73 KKDA. If you in Dallas Fort Worth, you know, that's the AM station. So I'm looking forward to Sunday, because damn, Chuck D, my nigga, I want to hear what this Farrakhan dude talking about.
Right.
So that first Sunday, he came on that radio, they play Farrakhan speeches. And the first speech I ever heard from Farrakhan was on the making of the white man. So this nigga talking about white people was created. They on 6,000 years old on the island of Patmos. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I'm saying? But it hit me. It just hit me to learn more and more. I think after 2 weeks, I told my mom, I say, I ain't going to church no more. She's like, why? I said, I'm a Muslim. I ain't left the swine alone and nothing. I just know I'm on what they are.
Right.
But my mama, man, she always kind of respected the decisions I made. You know what I'm saying? She was like, all right, well, you're a Muslim. You know they don't eat pork. I'm like, huh? And, you know, I'm cooking bacon and food.
No bacon in the morning no more.
Yeah. But eventually, you know, it didn't take me long. I ain't ate swines. I was 14 years old, man. You know what I'm saying? So I got into the NOI. Then, you know, I gravitated from the NOI to the Nation of Gods and Earths 1995. Me and my partner, man, he rest in peace, Cyphered Islam. Me and him was, you know, going to the mosque together here in Fort Worth when it was on land cap, the NOI house. And he moved away. I hadn't heard from him about a year, and I got his number. And I called him. I was like, "Assalamu alaikum, brother." He was like, "Peace, God." I'm like, you know, I really pay no attention. He's like, "Peace." I'm like, man, why you keep calling me God, bro? You know what I'm saying? He was like, man, that's because the black man is God. And he invited me over to his house, and shit, that's my enlightenment. That's my educator, man. Rest in peace, Cyphered Islam, man. I started studying 120 in 1996, knowledge 120 in 1998. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, so in your opinion, you know what I'm saying? Like we already talked about, you know, the whole the 5% they was real prevalent, you know what I mean, in the 90s in that golden era. Like, why do you think they was, you know what I'm saying, it was so popular at that time? You know what I'm saying, as far as in hip hop, because it's, you know what I'm saying, it don't seem like, you know, ain't nobody hollering about, you know what I'm saying, peace God
It's
like
much
that,
like,
like it was back then. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So why was it?
I think for the simple fact that it was so popular in the streets of New York, right? Hip hop is going to be the voice of the street.
Gotcha.
And so in the 80s, you know, we had gods everywhere. You know what I mean? That was, you know, there was from the stories that I've heard and gods that I've talked to, like they were, you know, they were real strong in a lot of in more ways than one, as far as, you know, the discipline that they had and the level of accountability that they would give to their brother. You know, if somebody who wanted to be a 5%er, you couldn't come outside and unless you knew your lessons, and you know, like that kind of atmosphere, right? And then so you have it being real popular on the streets of New York. And when I say real popular, obviously that's relative, you know what I'm saying? But within our communities, everybody, even if they weren't a 5%er, they knew one, you know what I mean? And so I think it was just because in New York at that time, on the East Coast, Philadelphia, you know, just due to the fact of its popularity. Now, I think hip hop has moved away from a lot of forms of consciousness, whether it's the 5% rappers, whether it's Pan-African RBG rappers. I mean, we have a lot on an independent level, but what we had then were the mainstream artists had knowledge of self or some form of it.
I got a question right quick. We know that the Nation of God and Earth started in the streets of New York, in the hood, right? But have you noticed outside of New York, most 5%ers are suburban Black people?
Damn, for real?
Well,
I didn't know that.
I don't know, God.
Look at Dallas. Look at Dallas Fort Worth. Street, hood. Most of, because I think that a lot of the street cats gravitated toward gangster rap.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? But if you was suburban, or if you was both, or you was a little educated, you gravitated towards something different. You know what I'm saying? But the hood cats, they listen to gangster shit, so they didn't get the information like that.
Well, I
if they sit down to Fort Worth, a lot of 5%ers ain't like. I brought the Nation of Gods and Earth to the Butler Projects. They ain't know nothing about that type of shit.
See, I'm the Power God of Cairo, which is Oak Cliff, and that's where that's where Black Savior from. That's where we would be every day, all the day. I just think that it is what. I mean, I could definitely see. I think a gang, like, you know, hardcore gangster raps obviously have just as big of an influence as conscious music. You know what I'm saying? And you had some people that went their way, some that went, you know, the conscious route. But the thing about it is, how I look at it is whether it's an MC that's a 5%er, a Black nationalist, or just a MC that's on some Black shit, who's, you know, kicks his shit in a dope way,
like Q.
Yeah, it's gonna resonate with somebody, regardless to where you're from, whether you got, you know, whether you're in the suburbs or whether you're in the ghetto. And that's the thing though about the 5% is, you know, you'll find us everywhere. You'll find us in the projects, in the suburbs, in the courtroom, in the jail cells, in corporate America, and politics. Just like, I mean, like, you know, we are of the community. You know, we are in the community. You know, like a lot of times when we talking about the conscious community, I use that word a lot, but I need to kind of get out of it, because in actual facts, it's like we're a community of Black people, and you're gonna have people that are attracted to one thing, people that are attracted to the other, and it's our duty to at least, you know, try to shine some light on something that's positive and that can be, you know, transformational to their own life.
Yeah, well, I don't know. As far as up here, man, you know, the 5%ers, they wasn't too big like in the 90s around here. You know what I'm saying, like that up here in Detroit. I can't speak for Chicago or nowhere else in the Midwest, but I think hip hop did have an influence on the 5% community here, because a lot all the 5% I know, they from the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They rap, they inter rap. You know what I mean? Shit like that. So I think the 5% community here was influenced a lot by hip hop.
Yeah, and there's a lot of powerful guys in Detroit as well. Dr. Bahu and all them brothers out there, and you got a lot of MCs that's 5% out there,
Right.
that are on the underground level. So yeah, I already know Detroit is a lot of times, and that that's the thing. Like whenever we look at just even the science of the 5%, that's an analogy for being a small part of a population. You know what I'm saying? Like I was building with one of my brothers who's a Hebrew, and he kind of mentioned that
the Hebrews.
No, but he's African centered and he's an activist. So like he's not one of the ones that where the WWE uniforms and screaming at niggas. But nah, he's dope. But he was kind of just putting me on the science of like just like in the Bible, the 144,000. Just a lot of different ideologies have a idea of a small percentage of their population or demographic having a certain level of awareness, who came out of a level of unawareness,
Right.
Just due to the fact that we all live in oppressive systems. You know what I'm saying? I never look at the 85% as being stupid or not intelligent, right? We understand that there are, Orthodox Muslims and Christians who are brilliant people, you know what I'm saying, as far as intelligence wise. A lot may not be culturally rooted in something that can bring forth who they are and their potential culturally. We understand that mentally,
I'm glad you brought that up, bro. I don't mean to cut you off, because there's some dumbass 5%ers out there. So so I just I'm saying it so people won't
speak on it.
Get it twisted.
Speak on it, my brother.
People won't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just adding on to your point, man. Stupid people on every ideology. Being a 5% don't make you intelligent or smart. It just makes you think a certain way of you master some words and some lessons. You know what I'm saying? So
because something that I've actually found out with certain information that we pick up, if the mind isn't cultivated right and people aren't able to comprehend and they're not able to digest information, because it was a point in time when we were just opening our eyes up to things and we had this overload of information. And a lot of people don't know how to sort through that. And what ends up happening, you have these people who a lot of times they're egotistical and they're dealing with that, or they have all kinds of issues that they're dealing with on the inside. And you got somebody that's already got this big old ego and you tell them that they're God. They run wild with that. And because some people actually run wild with that, and the information that they do have, they misuse it. And it's unfortunate because some of those people actually put a bad name on the people who are actually part of the N.G.E, who are doing the right thing. And so it's worth making a point that everybody that's part of anything or subscribe to any ideology, that doesn't mean that they have all the answers, and that doesn't mean that they're moving righteously either.
Right. No, I agree, and that's why I strive to be humble in what I know, because at any given time, you can think you're the best knower of a cipher, and then somebody else comes along and you get in a conversation, and you got to know when to shut up and learn, right? And so you kind of mentioned something I kind of want to add on to is the discernment, right? And so that's why we have supreme mathematics. It's designed to allow us to filter through information that isn't right and exact of what we would consider pseudo, right? And so you take things through the knowledge, right? If you're actually studying, not just having information, but if you have whatever you're studying, right? Once you begin to learn that, and then you begin to apply that, and then you begin to see that concept clearly. You just went from knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is 1, 2, and 3 principle in supreme mathematics. And so I say that to say this: you're gonna find idiots everywhere. It just is what it is. Like there's a 5% within the 5%, and they're pretty sure there's a 5% within the RBGs, or 5% within the Christian church. Not meaning that they see the same, have the same ideology as a 5%, but a small. Think about
that.
Right. Think about a Christian church, though.
It gets deep, man.
That really know that Bible like that. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people don't even read it. A lot of people.
And so
I want to tell a fun story.
Yeah, no, but hold on. I just want to kind of mention this because I think it needs to be said, and I know y'all talk spicy on here sometime.
Do you think, baby?
You can look at the example of Lord Jamar saying he's a flat earther now. Right? Somebody will see that, and that will reflect on us as a whole. It shouldn't, right? But whenever you have a huge platform like that, and you are,
I didn't even know he said that.
Yeah,
I didn't either, and that's a prime example of not doing the knowledge. Because the thing is, like, even maneuvering through that, you're supposed to be able to. Knowledge itself is just the tip of the iceberg, and that's what I was saying. A lot of people get a whole bunch of information and they don't process it properly. And the supreme alphabet the supreme mathematics is supposed to be able to guide you through that thought process. Where else, if you just have this information and you can apply it, then you don't understand it. And if you don't understand it, the wisdom that is supposed to come from it doesn't. So it's a whole process with that. And a lot of people, they just stop at just getting this information, obtaining knowledge, and they don't know how to apply it. And then you have someone like Lord Jamar that you don't know that he's on that type of time until you know. So you don't know what you don't know. And so then you come to find out all this time, this particular guy turns out to be a flat earth with all the information that's out there. So apparently he ain't walking through those different steps the way he's supposed to in order to understand what it is that he be reading.
No, you're right. I just wanted to holler at my brother Rakeem Shabazz Allah in the chat. Peace to his people. And no, he's right.
Rakeem step into the arena, my brother.
But he's right though. Lord Jamar doesn't speak for us. At the same time, when you have a huge platform,
right, that's the thing.
People are going to, regardless, they're going to assume. They're going to do that. Also, I kind of wanted to show y'all something as far as just the aesthetic, right? And it's a book right here, Jamil Shabazz, Back in the Day, and it's just really pictures of Black life in the 80s and in Harlem and in other parts of New York. And what you'll see, I'll show you a few things, but what you'll see is a lot of pictures of 5%ers in the community. You even have some pictures of I'll find it in a moment, but it's a dope book for anybody that want to just see the the visual aspect. Back in the day.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
For sure.
And but no, so you're right, Deja, and I think sometimes people, and the thing about that is though, our lessons don't speak anything about a flat earth. It actually talks about the circumference and the diameter.
That's
and how far the planet.
I mean that shit is mathematics, right? That shit is universal mathematics,
really
right?
How it revolves more so than it's interesting that someone who is part of the nation would lean to
that's what
flat earth, because even in the lesson it talks about the how far particular things revolve around the earth, and so it's like
Right.
you can't revolve around anything that is flat.
Nah, not at all.
So
And
yeah, it's not.
it's like you
Yeah,
can look
we
in the.
got a
It's like
problem with physics and everything at this point.
It's
yeah,
actually it's a lunar eclipse tonight.
right.
Word.
It's impossible for the Earth to be flat, to
Yeah,
have a
you know,
lunar. I mean,
yeah,
I ain't like explain.
it says
So Rakeem, let me
it says
ask
the
you
dome
this.
on that shit.
Let me ask you this. Do you
Uh-huh.
think that because the we don't have a lot of artists anymore that are 5%ers and they spitting that knowledge or anything, are you able to see a difference in the state of hip hop versus what it was then and what it is now?
All right, so I would say two things. Yes, but I would say we still have a lot of gods and earths who are MCs. They're
It's not
just
mainstream.
yeah, they're just not mainstream anymore, right? But I do think the state of hip hop is where it is in a as far as don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those old heads that be like, it's this new shit is terrible, right? I just think that there's a lack of balance, and so I do think the fact that we have less knowledge in mainstream records is a problem. A lot of there was a while, right, where I didn't even know where to look for the underground and independent artists, right? When I did, that's when I began to see, okay, it's a lot of young brothers and sisters that know something that's doing a thing, but it's on an independent level.
Right.
It seems like big labels, they're not trying to, when it comes to rappers with knowledge of self, whether they're 5% or whether they deal in another ideology, it just seems
RBG.
like they don't feel like that is going to be marketable enough to make any money, or it's a thing to where they want to keep us blind, deaf, and dumb through the music. But we have a lot of gods and earths that are rapping. Allah Preem, my brother, he's dope. On the independent level, we got Planet Asia.
Planet Asia.
Yeah,
Jay
I,
Jay
I would
Elect.
also
So
like to
Jay
add
Elect,
a
Jay
lot of
Elect is,
MCs,
Muslim, huh?
a lot of MCs got knowledge of self. They just don't rap about it no more.
I've heard that as well, and you got to ask. I guess I ask y'all, why do y'all? What would make an MC have knowledge of self, but you don't hear that in his music?
Because you don't
It
talk
doesn't
about
sell,
religion and politics at your job.
Mm.
That's a
right?
good point.
That's
That's a
their
good
job.
point.
Some people know this is their job, and
I
what
think,
and they don't take the each one teach one into their job.
Yeah, and I think for some, it is a whole money thing. You know what I'm saying? They know the money is over there with the other shit. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean, they keep acknowledging themselves to their peoples and to their family, and they doing positive shit. You know what I'm saying? The conscious shit in the hood and shit like that. But as far as rapping go, like you said, this is my motherfucking job, so I ain't about to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taught that
Yeah.
shit.
Is that
I
They making no
also
money.
think that if someone's environment isn't conducive to what they're rapping about, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to them. So say for instance, like back in the day, you said that, in New York, that was just part of that was what's happening in the streets. People was on the corner, peace God and all of that, right? So that was ingrained in them. So it wasn't anything new for people to start rapping about it because that's what's going on in the streets. Whereas right now, because we have moved away from that, if you have somebody that's try to spit the same way, like people like a Wu-Tang Clan and talking about numbers and ciphers and all of this stuff, it's going to go over their head. They're not going to understand what's being said anyway, because their environment is not conducive for that. So I think that there are certain artists that may have knowledge of self that they could probably get away with it, but they have a certain type of audience too, whereas it's more so preaching to the choir when you already have like a J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar, people like that. They have a core group of fans, which, if you're a J. Cole fan or you are a Kendrick Lamar fan, you already have a certain type of thought process anyway.
Yeah.
So it's only so much that they're going to be able to tell you. if that makes any sense.
Right. No,
So the people that need to be reached with those messages that they might be given in their music, they're not even the ones listening to it.
Right. Right. No, I feel that. I think, I think that it's, even though it's not the most conscious era of hip hop, I think that everything kind of does go in cycles. And I think, we'll get to a point where, because in a lot of ways, it may not be on the level that it was before, like in the 80s and 90s, but I do see lyrics becoming more, being a lyrical rapper is becoming more mainstream. And I look at it a lot of times, being a lyrical rapper is going to bring the knowledge of self in, because a lot of the times the lyrical rappers
saying
know a little something, right? You know what I'm saying? Whether they were influenced or whether they're a part of it. But a lot of times they know something. And so I think just and like Deja said, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, like, I don't necessarily know what their ideologies are, but in the 2010s, they kind of made lyricism mainstream for a new generation, right? That's why you're like, even like some of us, like, in our generation kind of hated and was like, oh, they still ain't like what we, you know what I'm saying? But at least they kind of ushered in the understanding of everything is not going to be a trap record. Everything is not going to be a bounce record. And that's not to say that trap records, there's anything wrong with trap records. I just miss the days that there was a balance, right? I miss the days where a West Coast artist sounded like a West Coast artist. East Coast artist sounded like an East Coast artist. I could tell who made the beat without a beat tag. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you had a variety of subject matter and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we got to define conscious. Like you saying, there's not a lot of consciousness going on, but you have some people beg to differ. It depends on what you think consciousness is and what you're aware of. From a 5% perspective, or older person, consciousness is about, speaking your ideology. You know what I'm saying? But like my co-host, Deja, she say Project Pat is conscious. She say that's conscious hip hop. You got some people that think that's fucking blasphemy. Like, hell no, how is that conscious? But from her perspective and what he's saying, he's bringing awareness to her. So we got to define this conscious shit. You know what I'm saying? What is conscious?
And then we also have a new wave of younger people that I'm noticing that are waking up in their own way. And being someone who been there, done it, and is able to watch it and see it happening, it looked chaotic from a distance. It's like it looks very chaotic where you see all of this. And I had to take a step back today, and because it's this new information going around about Hebrews and all of this stuff, right? And we done been there, done it. We got the t-shirt. And when you see it, and it's like I had to tell myself, I was like, hold up, this is a new wave. And I have to keep in mind that when we're on social media, we're sharing a space with everybody. Everyone that's on social media is not one of our peers. But we're all in the same space. So I had said, hold up, even though these people, they're all over the place right now and it's not making sense, and they talk to you once they get their little piece of information, they talk to you like they could tell you something. The same way we used to do, So it's like I had to take a step back and say, you know what, even though they gonna get there, they gonna get to the point where things start to fall in line and make sense for them. And so right now I can say we are seeing a new wave of younger people. They're starting to wake up. The only thing that I think that can mess things up is because there's this thing now where it's a celebrity. We like now we live in a society where there is celebrity worship. Whereas back then it wasn't like that for us. So the people who are speaking out on certain things, they have to be very careful about what it is that they're saying, how they saying it, and they also have to be mindful of who is picking up what they're putting down, because we ain't the ones listening to them.
Right.
It's these younger people that's listening to them, so they need to make sure when they're coming out with this new information that they're not being reckless, and they are making sure that they are giving it to them in a way that they're able to digest it. Otherwise, you've loaded them with the arsenal to go out here and do what needs to be done, but you ain't showed them how to use any of this information. So you've put this in their arsenal, but you ain't telling them how to use it. So now you're creating a way where things could be more like chaotic and destructive mentally than what it already is now. You can really breed a whole lot of confusion that way. So I think a lot of people who speak out on things, they just need to be a little bit more careful on how they deliver, because back then we had time to get this. Everything wasn't just readily available to us. You couldn't just type in a Google search and go get the one thing. I was surprised when you could Google. I'm like, they put this on the internet? I was surprised it's on the internet. I was
shocked when I seen 120 on the internet.
Yeah,
right. Everything. Yeah,
I studied it for a while, and it was when I got it. The person had wrote it out with their own, like it was written.
Right. That's how we got it.
What I'm saying? It wasn't no book. It was the motherfucker got a notebook themselves and went and wrote it out to me. And then in order to have conversations, you were around. It was like you weren't having conversations on internets and all that kind of stuff. You had to go and have these conversations and talk about certain things or whatever. Now everything is so readily available. So the people who do know have to be careful on how they go about spewing out.
People who think they know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that kind of makes that. I mean, that's a great point. And whenever you were building on that, I kind of thought about the whole thing with Kanye and Kyrie, right? And it's like with Kyrie, I feel like, we've all had.
He's a baby.
Yes, we've all had an
definitely a baby
in our journeys and on our path to knowledge of self and to have understanding. What we didn't have while we were going through that was the internet,
right?
Or the internet, what it is now. You know what I'm saying? So like we're seeing, even though that because I watched that documentary and that shit's crazy. I just gotta tell you that's just crazy.
Yeah, when they had started, when they went from, we was in Egypt, then we went to Israel, then we went back. I was like, if y'all finna say all this, then that don't make the transatlantic slave trade. Right. Like, where we get on the boat at? Like, you gotta get on the boat somewhere. Like, where the fuck did we get on the boat at if we went from Egypt to Israel? Yeah. Bitch, I thought they picked us up in West Africa.
Right.
It's a big push. It wasn't no slave ships.
Right. You got that too.
It's like, you got that going on, and then I'm like, shit, motherfucker went from Cherokee to Hebrew. Like, you know what I'm saying? Are we indigenous? Were we here before Columbus, or were we sent over? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's too much hooty-hooing going on for me. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, Kanye is arguably top 5 biggest rappers at this era, right?
In the world,
number 1. Yeah. And he has this platform where he'll get on. But he got on Drink. He went on Drink Champs. He went on Tucker Carlson, Lex Friedman. All went on his little rants on all these different spots, and the shit he's talking ain't historically accurate, right? And so, I think that is something that, in our time, whenever we were coming up, we didn't have that issue, right? Where first off, we didn't have access to these artists like that. You know what I mean? We couldn't follow them on Twitter, or we watch Rap City. They'll do their freestyles, they do their interview, and then you might see a interview with them on the Source or XXL or something like that. But that was it, right? Now you see them tweeting and being on Facebook.
Also, was gonna have somebody to check you on that. You weren't gonna be able to. You weren't able to just say any damn thing.
Right.
you didn't
Fake news.
But you
It
can't
was
be,
like,
but
no,
you
you
can't really
ain't
check
gonna be
nobody on the
saying any
internet.
damn thing.
Right, exactly.
In person, like we would be checked on. Yo, what you talking about? You know, we from Israel and wasn't you know, slave trade wasn't this and that. Like, you know, in some cases, some niggas might have beat your ass for that, right?
Right. And that's what you call a bill. That's what you get around and you build. And it's just, you know, that's what people did. You know,
people ain't outside
iron
no
sharpen
more.
iron. But now, you know, you try to have these conversations, people lead into, you know, they want to, you know, try to get the jokes off, and you know, they really not trying to digest the information. They just want to like wave in your face of, oh, I read this book and I know this, but you really don't know shit.
Yeah, and you gotta, and sometimes I ask, like, I think a lot of the artists that we had in the 80s and 90s, because you can see some of them have kind of their ideologies have kind of changed a little bit, and I ain't knocking them, you know, they older, it is what it is. But a lot of them are still, without releasing records, they're still the person that they were when they were, you know, kicking knowledge itself on them records. Some have write books. Some have went on to, you know, just do things for the community. Now, a lot of these cats right now, and I don't pocket watch, so I don't know what nobody is doing, but it's like sometimes I wonder if it's genuine, right? You know what I'm saying? Like Ye, I keep harping on Ye, you know, and I know he is probably going through a mental.
I think you be hating on Kanye a little bit too. I've been waiting to come on the show. I see that.
It's disingenuous. It is. I'm on your side. I'm on your side, Rakim, because it is disingenuous. The reason why is because people have to understand why he spoke out. He didn't speak out until he was having personal contractual issues.
Right.
It was, and then it's other inflammatory things that he said prior. You know, so it's all of this. He's just coming out and he's saying things for shock and awe, and I get it. However, we have to, just because people speak out about something, we gotta quit thinking that this is gonna give us freedom and this is gonna save us. Like what he said, what does that do for us?
Right, like, they be like, "Are you gonna stand with him? Like, what you mean do? Like
anything? It doesn't advance us in any way. We ain't gonna do shit with the information. We're gonna go to work the next day, clock in or whatever, and bring our ass home, get back on the internet and talk our shit. So him risking it all and doing all of that, it does nothing for us. It does something for whatever his bottom line is, but it does nothing for us as a people. So these rants and these people going off or whatever, it's symbolic to me. It's symbolism. It's just one of those things where I'm going to put this out here and engineer it as I'm the voice for the people. But technically, you're really like, what the hell this gonna do for me? What you talking about?
Right.
You fucked up in your country.
Right. And like, I mean, think about in the 90s, 80s. Remember back then, being called a sellout in hip hop was like some real shit. You know what I mean? Like Ice Cube when it hammered whenever he saw him, you know, dancing for the KFC chicken in the commercial. That was a real thing. that was a real thing.
Yeah.
But imagine saying some white lives matter, slavery was a choice in the 80s and 90s. He wouldn't say
man. Yeah, that shit. Yeah. That shit wouldn't have been able to fly back then.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to add on to something, man. You know, like I be conflicted, like lately. I'm real conflicted. I'm like 50-50 on some shit, right? Like for the past 10 years, I've been on some old, you know, allow black people to be what they want to be, believe what they want to believe. It ain't my job. It ain't my, you know, everybody in their own path, right? And coming from a conscious perspective, 10 years ago, it wasn't much to deal with. Like It was either Christians. We just, you know, we fuck with the Christians. You know what I'm saying?
It was Christian, Muslim, and then you woke.
Right. And if you was conscious, you was either Pan-African, 5%, Hebrew,
RBG.
Pan-African, RBG. You know what I'm saying?
Moors.
Then you had some of them
the boys started creeping in. They started getting popular. The Wabians, they started, but for the most part, but see now, I'm like, fuck these people, man. Like, nigga, if you believe the earth is flat, you're a stupid motherfucker. If you believe that we didn't come from Africa, you're a stupid motherfucker to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna just sit back and because it's too wild now. Niggas
and if you believe we was running around Israel and getting flued out to Egypt and getting flued back out to Israel, you're stupid too.
I ain't never
seen slaves doing all that moving. This is was vacationing like a bitch, like y'all all around like.
It's so much shit, man. It's just 5D vibrational melanite bullshit, man. And I know people watching, they're gonna be mad shit, man, but I don't give a fuck. This shit is I'm not gonna go deep, but our Supreme Ra is going to make a case that in 2022, at this point, black so-called consciousness is setting black people back. I'm gonna make that case.
I agree.
I ain't gonna go into detail. I'm gonna make that case, man. Because the shit is retarded.
I agree. I definitely agree because think about it. The conversation that I seen go on one of my posts where the people were talking about the stuff Kyrie and Kanye West were talking about or whatever, right? When we get done, while we try to talk about this one group that went through something in their past and they experienced something with propaganda and they did everything that was necessary to make sure that they put themselves in a position where people won't have to deal with this no more. Black people, on the other hand, is sitting back and arguing about silly shit about, you know, you need to check your ancestry. We still trying to check our ancestry.com. You get what I'm saying? We way back here trying to figure out whether or not, you know what I'm saying, what we got on the boat at and all of that, right? And then we get mad at other groups because they are actually putting themselves in positions of power, but we having conversations about things that ain't gonna do, like they don't do anything for us at the end of the day. Like once you figure all of that out, you ain't getting no damn reparations. You motherfuckers don't need no mule or no 40 acres because people don't know how to tend to a pit bull good. Folks don't know how to cut grass. You know what I'm saying? You don't need you in a position, you know what I'm saying? For real, you can make you some money to go buy that. Like, why the fuck I'm gonna give you 40 acres and a mule for it to be barren land? Y'all don't know what no mule eat or none of that shit. Quit saying you want 40 acres and a mule. They promised it. You didn't get it. Whatever you got left or whatever you can do with what you got right now, that's what you need to work with. Quit going all the way back in history, trying to identify yourself through fictional characters in the Bible in order for you to try to find a loophole to get some reparations. See, like that's the shit they own. That's what they doing it for, trying to find loopholes to get reparations.
I think it's that, and I also think they have a shame of slavery where they want to do anything that they can to distance themselves from it. So that means that they got to say that they are native Hebrew. What they're gonna do it, right? And then another thing that you kind of brought up is just the fact that, you know, there's a certain time where in order to get certain things, you either had to know somebody that had them books and them lessons. You had to go to a black bookstore in your city. Right. Now it's so much information on the internet and they going through it all and they get caught on these YouTube rabbit holes. And you know, because I just imagine a flat earther like one day seeing a YouTube video, right? And like, damn, that shit interesting. And then next thing you know, 5 hours
Right.
went by.
They watching all kind of shit. Right.
Yeah, now he a flat earther. You know what I'm saying?
So speaking of that though, you know what I'm saying, going into that, all this crazy information that's out here and everything like that, is that why you started your podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like,
man, good question. Yeah,
Talk about your podcast, brother.
yeah, talk about
appreciate
that.
it. I got a podcast called Why's the Dome TV for those that don't know. And so like, yeah, I wanted two things. I wanted to build with people from all walks of life, but who were at least grounded in reality and a sincere love for Black people. Right. Yeah, you know, flat earthers, and I can't do that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I also wanted to have something where I had underground hip hop artists on there too, to kind of help shine a light on them. Because I ended up, you know, just crossing paths with a lot of great MCs. And so just wanted to kind of play my part. And, you know, like we've all been in this for a while. And so we all have a lot of information that we feel like it helped the people and possibly inspire the people. And so I just wanted to actually create something where I could have conversations with people about the shit that I know. And I also, what I would like to do is have the hip hop school come to Why's the Dome TV. You know what I'm saying? And then yeah, you know, I like that.
Definitely.
But anyway,
I feel honored and everything.
Nah, that's y'all my people, man. And
for sure,
and so I definitely appreciate, you know, just the honor.
I'm just honored that you think I'm grounded in reality, brother.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Watching your show, you had somebody on your show. I ain't gonna say the name.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
but you had somebody on your show that I watched it, and I had, you know, sometimes you can interact with people via social media, and you'll think you know them just because they, you know, say certain things. And I have to keep in mind, because I wild out and I talk my crap or whatever online as well. So I got to keep in mind that other people do that, but I don't be feeling like everybody is as smart as me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this they don't know how to do this like I'm doing this, you know. So anyway, there was one particular individual, he subscribed to the Nation of Gods and Earth as well. But he was on there, and it actually gave me a better impression of that person. So I really enjoyed enjoyed that show, and I like what you're doing over there, for real.
I appreciate it. I feel like a lot of times we have these 3 or 4 like quote unquote conscious community entertainer, you know, personalities, right? And it's like, but you know, I've known y'all for years. I've known a lot of the people I've had on my show for years, and I felt like, yo, man, like these are the people that are really for the people. These are the people that, you know, have shown and proved over the years that this is who they are. I'd rather their voices need to be heard. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really chase. Don't get me wrong. If somebody like Jay-Z hit me up and said, "Yeah, I want to come on the show," of course I'm having him on the show, but I don't really chase that, though. You know what I mean? A lot of times I've noticed, just like the regular brothers and sisters who come with, you know, good conversation, that's the shit that people enjoy the most.
Yeah, for sure.
To, you know, somebody that want to entertain for some donations.
Yeah. I've been tuned in, man, pretty much since the beginning, man. And you done had some dope guests, some dope interviews.
Man, I appreciate
you had a few rappers, you know, you had Mickey Facts on there, and so yeah, man, you've been doing your thing for a minute.
And it's a breath of fresh air. I'm gonna tell you something. It's a breath of fresh air because, you know, we come from that era where we get online and we was listening to lectures all the time, and it was just people just talking to us, and the podcast, it wasn't like a conversation. It was more like you just pouring down my throat and you telling me about myself and everything. You checking me, and I don't even know you. You don't know how I feel. You don't hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? So it's a breath of fresh air just to have that available to watch, where it's a conversation piece, and that makes the information easier to digest as well. So
I think your podcast and our podcast you know, is similar in the fact that we keep it underground, we keep it organic, Like we could be reaching out to different entertainers and
Mhm.
high profile rappers and stuff and getting their publishers up, getting their people up and asking them to come on the show. But you know, all the MCs we had on the show is you know, underground, regular people that we know from the hip hop group.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
and
We ain't reach out to no. We can,
yeah,
you know.
but I think
But
they're gonna come. I think
I
they're gonna
value
come
the
to y'all.
people.
You know what
I
I'm saying?
value people that's been on the show just as much as I value with Jay-Z. But like you say, if Jay-Z hit us up, of course,
Yeah,
absolutely.
right.
But
Right.
we ain't, you know, we ain't riding nobody nuts like that.
With the way y'all taking off, man, they're gonna come to y'all anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
This show is, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best hip hop show. As far as podcasts, just due to the fact that you ever seen any of the, and don't get me wrong, a lot of them are still dope, but they're a little corny. You know what I'm saying? Like
A
it's
lot
not,
of them.
yeah. You
Right.
know, y'all are real hip hop heads. Y'all also have an understanding of, you know, black shit. You know what I'm saying? And
For sure.
that's the perspective. That perspective ain't there in any of the other hip hop podcasts, man. And
For
so
sure.
Appreciate
I
it, brother.
salute y'all, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. And then like yours, man, you got all, you be having all kind of guests on there, like from politics to authors and like you say to rappers and singers and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So I like the diversity in your you know what I mean, in your guests, you know what I mean, everything like that. So, but
Appreciate you.
have you had a favorite show that you've done personally, or like a top three? You know what I'm saying? A top couple.
It kind of changes right now. Is I'd say is the one I did with Dr. Kamal Rashid. He was the type of brother I would just ask him a question and then like he just gonna build and just drop jewels, man. And but yeah, I've had I appreciate everybody that has come on. There are there are a few that are in the vault that ain't never coming out because I didn't feel like it was keeping with the integrity of the show. People got on there and started talking some crazy shit, man.
I was wondering because I would see an advertisement, right? And then I never seen the show.
Yes, indeed.
Coming out, man. Because you know,
well, looks like we got somebody backstage that want to join and say something. Let me see here. And then before we get to our next segment where we talk about the school post, let's see. Here we go, Hannibal Bay. Let me see what you got. What's up, Hannibal?
How y'all doing? Hey,
how are you?
Gods and earths. I'm just digging the conversation on what we talking about, what y'all digging on, and the different points of light. And you know, just to add on to what you guys were saying, you know, there's just different schools of thoughts that goes with your personality. Like me, I travel at all. I'm Nation of Islam, 5% Nations of God to Earth, and then I sold on the Moorish nationality. That's just what resonated with me. That just answered all the questions and all the different things that I had concerning me and my family when I did the research on who we were, my mother, and the Indian heritage. That shit, my grandmama is Cherokee. That's my people. I can't change that. You know, I don't get down with the Hebrew Israelites and that shit. But the thing what Kyrie was trying to do, though, real talk, he was just trying to give Kanye some cover, man. Kanye was catching so much. He put that tweet out there that's just like, look, it just Kanye ain't crazy. This is some scholarship. So he wasn't trying to. He was just trying to give the homie some cover, dog. And niggas is just, you know, our people are just there's certain things, bro, that it's like you're not gonna do to you. I'm not gonna allow you to hurt my brother. Me and my brother, me and Preem, we beefing or whatever. That's different. But nigga, you not finna come and hurt my brother. Right. And that's what we got to get to. It's like if we don't build a hedge around niggas just willing to take a stand and use their platform, we always talking about athletes and how they don't speak up and how they don't marshal any of our goals and activities. And then when niggas do, everybody turn their back and hide and let nigga get lynched. and then say, oh, he don't sell out, man. Kyrie catching so much hell, it's ridiculous, man. And all he did was post. Ain't nobody talking about the shit that nigga Jeff Bezos is making money. Ain't nobody talking about the fucking fact that the motherfuckers that even made the goddamn documentary ain't catching hell. But they want to take one of our strong warriors, because Kyrie's a warrior, homie. That nigga went against the lead and said, fuck the jab, nigga. I'm not taking that shit. And he lost $35 million. So we got to embrace niggas like that, homie. We always talk, that nigga's not a sellout. He ain't balled in. But if his own people are going to allow and turn their back on him and allow for these Jews to do, man, fuck them motherfuckers. That's how I feel, man. I'm so fucking... Dude,
well,
I'm
how
so
we gonna stop the Jews from doing what they doing? Like, you said we allow them, like we
take our power back. We ain't got to spend no money. These motherfuckers make money off of selling us as the product.
Well,
we the product.
Watch football, so I ain't boycotting no sports. Like
y'all
going on with this shit.
That's why we
I'm listening.
That's why we can't win, baby girl. That because the Jews, and think about it. If you say one fucking thing about them, they whole communities gonna come for your ass.
What's the problem with that, though? What's the problem with that? And that's something
there's no problem with that.
That's something that I said before. Do you understand how they ended up in the situation that they did? It was because of propaganda. So they did what was necessary to protect them people, their people. So what's the problem with that? It's like,
I don't have a problem with that. That's a good example. I'm like Kanye. I'm like, listen, man. We are the engines of America. We are the creatives. We're the innovators. We're the product. We're the work. We make this shit move.
Can I add on right quick? I want to say this, man. You know, with the boycott shit, the original boycotts was people who stopped going to work. A real boycott would be the actual players not playing. Exactly. Us watching the shit, that's not not watching it. That's not no real boycott. The boycott starts with the motherfucking players not going to practice and not playing. So yeah, I'm watching shit on TV, my nigga, for sure.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the collective effort, bro. It's like when niggas trip off of me, like when I quit everything, because I wanted to show niggas the power of God, homie. I ain't worked in 6 years, nigga, and I got everything. And I live good. I live in paradise. Because my faith, not fucking money, not fucking jobs. So I had to face my fears. What was my fears? Being broke, not having the status. Nigga, once I sent that shit,
that nigga did the cha-cha.
He did the cha-cha. Hey, Macarena.
You know what it is, Prim, when you got you riding in a big body or something. You feel good when you got them leather seats, heated seats, you in your drop top.
I'm not
giving it up. I like a panoramic roof. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that, but at what cost? But at what cost?
My engine like I used to.
But at what cost? See, now I know, nigga, I'm stronger than any nigga that I know, cause I went through the fire, homie. I quit everything. I walked away from corporate America. I walked out of my job. I said, fuck this shit. I'm gonna walk with God, homie. And for 6 years. And when I tell you this, niggas won't believe me. My life, nigga, I can do whatever I want to do.
Do you have any children?
Yeah, I got 2.
They're adults.
My daughter goes to North Carolina AT&T. My son is on his own business in Las Vegas, clothing store. You know, I put
because I thought about walking away. I thought about walking away, you know, for a lot of shit and moving away, going off the grid, man, you know, but I realized I was too comfortable. I realized my children was too comfortable. So, you know, I commend you for walking away, brother, and changing your lifestyle and not being controlled on a certain level by these folks. You know what I'm saying? But I don't knock nobody who don't.
No, I don't. But like, at what point, Preem, do we? Dog, that shit just making me so fucking angry, man. Because how, even with the Kanye shit, I knew what Kanye was trying to do. Kanye was trying to get out of these contracts, man. He's trying to get out all of his motherfucking agreements. And he said some of the most realest shit to violate his contracts, because what he's trying to do is take ownership of all his shit. That's what he's trying to do. Niggas is not even looking at this.
You got some people on the show who think it wasn't no great elaborate plan.
That wasn't no master plan because
no. The plan was this. If I have joined these partnerships with these companies to build my brand, to become almost like a household name all around the world, and I'm seeking to rid myself of these relationships that these niggas making billions off of him. Adidas, that nigga is the savior of Adidas. So he's trying to position himself where, nigga, I've used them to build my brand. Now all I need is to be able to manufacture and deliver my product to my folks and get out of business with all these
surprise. I'm hearing an echo.
Hold on. Go ahead, Rakeem. Hold on. Respond, brother.
Why did he go to Skechers after Adidas dropped him if that was his plan?
Right, and then I want to say this as well, and I'm gonna mute your mic, Hannibal, because you got some feedback, and we ain't gonna keep you long because I want to be respectful of our guests' time. But I want to say this as well, right? Everybody make it seem like Kanye West had this grand plan or whatever. One of our problems as Black people is we have emotional responses to things that are happening to us. Kanye West is a billionaire. There is a process and there's procedure, there's proper protocol in order to get out of contracts. It's not having rants and having meltdowns and throwing tantrums. I understand that he's passionate about what's going on, but I'm gonna tell you what the funny thing is this. And we had the conversation about getting information and walking through the mathematics and process and thoughts, right? Nobody has seen these contracts that he's talking about. So how do we know that Kanye West is in the right? We don't know that Kanye West is in the right. Only thing we know is that he feel like they got him fucked up from an emotional standpoint. But he was in it. We ain't seen these contracts.
Big cap. Cap.
Y'all, you seen the contract?
I ain't got to see the contract.
But my thing is, let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something, right? A lot of people do this. They're just like starving artists that come up in the game. You'll notice that people who was down bottom, they ain't have shit. They ain't got no money to even invest in themselves to even get a copy printed for their CDs to pass out, right? They don't have a damn thing. Only thing they know is they know how to rap. Them motherfuckers will go and they'll go viral or something like that or whatever. You have these people that'll reach out to them when people are investing their money in you, they want that back. They want that back. That's just like you go get these artists and they'll be like, "Oh, I got in the fuck." Well, you didn't have shit. You couldn't.
We ain't got to see the contracts to know that Black people enter contracts with non-Black people at a disadvantage. And the non-white people know that they're taking advantage of them.
About Kanye West, that does happen. But Kanye West,
whether he's a billionaire, whether you're a billionaire or you make $15 an hour,
and it happened to Kanye. But just because you want to go in it blindly and just go off of what has happened in the past and different situations or whatever the case may be, you cannot necessarily say that this was the case. And that's neither here nor there. I'm just going off of the fact of all of this is going on, and Kanye West, he wants to have like Hannibal said, it was a point in time where Kanye West, he was working with these people. This was what gets me, and like where Rakeem said, some of this shit sound real fake. You already have all this information about how fucked up these people are. But yeah, you go into business with them, knowing how they are. You said you act like you knew how they are, or whatever, and now you want all of these certain creative rights or whatever. And niggas sitting up here saying, oh, Kanye West or somebody else made Adidas or whatever. Adidas was Adidas before Kanye West.
Look, when you,
So
of course, of course, people go into it not knowing, and he went into it not knowing. But once you get that Billy, you feel like you can make that move and buck and kick that dust up.
But that's not how it works. That's not how none of this works.
Nah, it's gonna start working like that thanks to Kanye.
Yeah, but that's emotional though. That's emotional.
In my Pimp C boys, Pimp C boys, I'm gonna tell you like this, Jack. I'm down with Kanye. I think it was a brilliant motherfucking idea, and he bucked the motherfucking system. He lost some millions, but he gonna be all right. And he's out of contract, and now he's wiser. He's wiser, and he's gonna make some different power moves. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hoping.
Sound like men with paper sack ass because he lost all them deals, and that man went to Skechers and tried to get on them down rollerblade shoes.
I'm
down with Hannibal, man. I am with you, Hannibal, on this one, man.
That's all I'm saying. At some point, you gotta have to start. You gotta start at some point, and that's
a sacrificial lamb. He's a sacrificial lamb, man.
Sacrificial lamb
for black people who become rich to turn from a rich nigga mindset to a wealthy owner mindset. Kanye was a rich nigga.
He want to be an owner.
Now he's trying to become a wealthy black man who would complete ownership, distribution, manufacturing.
Are you serious right now? This is the same Kanye that was yelling at fucking Sway when Sway was saying the same.
He didn't get it. He didn't get it. He's getting it now.
Got it now? You think he got it now?
He getting there.
Okay.
He getting there. Give him a minute. The nigga you said he don't read. So give him a minute.
Okay. Anyway.
Give him a minute, man. Yeah, man. Hey, man.
Okay.
Shout out. See, y'all just mad because he with the white girl. That's what that really is, man. We had the white babies. Why y'all mad?
Listen, the way Kanye West is, he could go ahead and stick that contaminated penis in anybody outside of.
Oh man, you slandering the man.
But anyway, Hannibal, was there anything else that you wanted to say before? I
just want to tell y'all I'm proud of y'all. Keep doing the work. I love your show. I always tune in.
I'm gonna hit you up, Hannibal.
Hey, dude, I hit you today, bro. I got some things I need to talk to you. I love you guys. Keep doing it. Hey, one question I wanted to ask you guys. I don't know. I don't want to start no drama. What happened to John? What happened to Ike Tape? What happened to the other homie?
Brother Truth.
He busy doing community activism, man. And
he's planting seeds in the community to help, circumvent violence in the neighborhoods and stuff. So he's doing what he does best.
Shout out to him. Shout out.
I was wondering what happened. I was like, damn, I ain't seen him on a couple of shows, but it's all good. At least we know it ain't no beef. You guys keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm gonna keep big up on you guys. I love you guys, man. I love what you're doing, man. Y'all got the realest, down to earth, grassroots show on the podcast. Keep doing what you guys. Don't stop.
Let them know where you at, Hannibal.
I'm in Puerto Rico.
We international content.
We international. I love you guys, man.
All right, bro. Thank you,
Thanks for dropping by.
Make a sweet potato pie, you. Keep doing your thing, y'all. We out, man.
And she blushing. Oh, child.
Well, I know the child don't start every time. Lord have mercy, don't start with me. Anyway, that was that. It got a little heated. Y'all say anything on the hip hop school. Sorry, Rakim.
I'm gonna wait till I get on Wild's Dome, man. I'm gonna handle that Kanye business, man.
Oh yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
We'll set that up soon. I'm talking about. I want to bring the hip hop school squad on. I'll get with y'all at the end of the show.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, stay on after the show. Don't leave the studio. We have someone else in the back. Out of respect for our guest time, I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to bring you on because we need to get through to the next subject. So I do apologize for that. Hannibal, he had a lot to say. He was very passionate, and we appreciate
very informative.
Y'all. We appreciate y'all for that.
Yeah.
God drop jewels, no pun intended.
Yeah, yes indeed. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this school post. We incorporate the school posts each week. And before we get into that, on a serious note, we want to send our condolences to Takeoff's family and friends and those who love him. And it's unfortunate that he passed away on November the 1st due to unnecessary gun violence.
Rest in peace to Hurricane G and that nigga from the Artifacts.
Yeah.
Same one.
Oh, I didn't even Hurricane G. That was that woman, right? Yeah. When I seen it, I thought I was like, "Oh Lord, what Hurricane Chris done did?" Oh Lord, because I ain't know nobody named Hurricane. I was like, "Lord, they done Hurricane Chris ain't did nothing to nobody." Jesus.
Hey, baby.
Hey, that's my song. Turn it up. You hear me?
But yeah, though. But yeah, for real. Yeah, RIP to all of them though.
Yeah.
Takeoff, Hurricane G, Tame One. You know what I'm saying? It's been a bad week, I guess, for hip hop.
Yeah, it's been one, but we just have to, just keep our arms around our people or whatnot. But with that being said, this week's Hip Hop School post is someone said on October the 8th. So this was prior to all of this stuff happening. So this is not like a coincidence or anything like that. Because I know people start trying to come up with different conspiracies and shit. But this week's school post was Jay Prince said if Tupac signed with him, he would still be alive. And if you all know that when Takeoff met his demise, he actually was at an event with Jay Prince's sons. So the people say if Tupac signed with Jay Prince, he would still be alive.
Tupac was on Rap a Lot. He'll still be alive. What you think about that, Rakim?
I think I would say due to the fact that Jay Prince didn't have that same type of beef with Puff that Suge had, it's a possibility. At the same time, I don't know, because it's like when Pop was locked up and Suge went and bailed him out, spent $1 million to get him out. Like, I don't know if there was like a conversation like, yo, this the plan, this what we're gonna do, this shit gonna, everybody gonna either ride with us or ride with them, but it's gonna be something that take over the music. And I don't know if that was a type of conversation. I don't know if they were just really just like hated them niggas like that, you know what I mean? But I'd say that it's definitely likely just due to the fact that Jay Prince, I know what's been going on in the news lately, but he definitely seems like a man of respect that would try to keep his artists out of shit compared to trying to keep them in shit. Right.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I think I guess the question would be, would Jay Prince be able to kind of, I don't want to say control Pac, but kind of, you know what I'm saying, like keep him to a certain level where he wasn't like wilding out kind of when he was with that. But he was with Suge though. See, he was kind of following behind Suge in a way. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Jay Prince always been cool, laid back, about his business, about getting money and all that shit. So I think the post is valid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You never know. You know what I'm saying? And then too, it wasn't no blood and Crip shit. It wasn't no LA gang shit involved. Right. You know what I'm saying? So all those elements, you know what I'm saying, led up to the whole Pop, story. You know what I'm saying? So it's valid. It's valid for sure.
I agree with Jay Prince. Jay Prince said that. Somebody just repeated what Jay Prince said.
Right. Yeah, they said Jay Prince said it. They put it in the post. It said
so,
Jay Prince said.
First of all, he'd be alive because he wouldn't be running with no Pyros beating up Crips at the casino.
Yeah.
And like Suge Knight was affiliated with the Pyros. So yeah, man. And then we just look at, ain't nobody got killed under Rap a Lot. I mean, Pimp C did get beat up by No Limit, and he was on Rap a Lot.
I think shit happened to Young while he was on Rap a Lot too.
Yeah, while he was on Rap a Lot. And that's why supposedly Jay Prince made Master P move from Houston after this situation. I just heard it in the grapevine. But it's a valid point.
Yeah.
It's a valid point.
Yeah, for sure.
But and then it don't even go with what's going on now. That wasn't Jay Prince event that Offset was killed at.
No, it wasn't off. It wasn't his event. I think it was Jazz event one. It
It
was
was Jazz birthday
Jazz.
party,
Yeah.
and Jay Prince Jr. then was there, man, and people got to arguing, and I don't know, we still don't know exactly what happened. There's
Yes.
different rumors that possibly somebody from the same camp, possibly from somebody from the opposite camp, and
Who
we'll see
knows?
what go down.
Yeah,
Shit happens, man.
Yeah.
Even when people portray a certain amount of power, a certain amount of control, man, it always get exposed.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't control everybody all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't hating on the Prince family, man. They do their thing, man.
Yeah, and the only thing that I don't like about how the sons move is that, from my understanding, my knowledge of Jay Prince from back in the day, Jay Prince was on money. Like, I don't remember it being anything just wild and super crazy. Yeah, he had his respect, but I don't remember stuff like it wasn't, how some people have that name where it's just respect. It ain't like that gritty, grimy, is tainted. It wasn't like that. Like, he was a respectable person. So I really do think that those
Still is.
they need to get a grip on themselves, because I think with how they be moving is tarnishing their father's legacy.
Yeah, because actually that's two incidents. You know what I'm saying? The past couple months,
Because when
actually.
Duke the Jeweler was with them,
You know what I mean? So them niggas, like you said, them niggas need to start moving like pops.
What's funny
they need
is
to start moving like businessmen, and like you have too much at stake. You have a lot in your hands. Your inheritance, like this, you got some big shoes to follow.
Remember,
and they do a better job with handling it.
Remember on one of our past shows, we was talking about the influence of hip hop and how it's just not in the hood, it's everywhere, suburbs, everywhere, right? If you read Jay Prince's book, he talks about how he didn't even let his kids listen to hip hop.
Yeah, they are literally suburban kids.
And they went all with the private schools. So, here you got, Jay Prince Jr. I ain't saying he ain't no certain type of nigga, but from the way you grew up, that ain't how you acting is not how you grew up. You know what I'm saying? So eventually, when you doing something that you ain't really, if that ain't your foundation, man, it's gonna get exposed with certain shit that other people are hip to, that you ain't hip to, that you playing like you hip to.
Yeah, and you only get when you are the heir, you only get a certain level of a leeway. What they don't understand is they are actually, they're surviving off of their father's name.
Yeah.
They like what they're doing. They have to take this type of same name for themselves, and that's all right. It's okay to be able to survive off your father's name. That's how it's supposed to be. But all at the same time, do not tarnish it.
Nah, they doing something.
They doing.
If it wasn't for Jazz Prince, we wouldn't have Drake.
Drake, yeah.
The biggest hip hop artist in history.
What I'm saying, as far as
I'm talking to Easy.
Okay. What I'm saying, as far as like the respect level goes, where okay, it's on. I remember when, just for instance, when we were coming up in school, my family was, when they seen us, they like, oh, you one of them Esau girls. Because like my family had a name. It was, and we had to act a certain way, move a certain way, we had to look a certain way, dress a certain way, because our family had a name. It's like, you an Esau, right? So when they say you an Esau, it was like, I couldn't go to school and get my ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an Esau. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's like when you have something, a name that carries you, you can only do so much. You can only live off and survive off the people before you so much until these other generations come, and they're not gonna give a damn. So it's like you making it with this reckless shit because of your father. That's it. So they need to bring that on in, because they don't have the same respect for them with all this hot stuff going around,
sure.
around them that they got for they pops. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I was able to go along with my family name, like my dad and my like just, oh, you an Esau. It was just like, you not finna fuck with me just because I didn't even know what that shit meant.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, oh, that's an Esau girl, leave her alone. I didn't know what that meant. But once I got older, it was like it's certain things that I knew that I needed to do, because now it was like when my younger siblings was coming up, they were able to say, "No, that's her sister, that's her brother. You don't fuck with her. You don't like, you know what I'm saying? You have to carry that. You can't when you inherit that kind of stuff, you have to carry that. And you gotta respect it."
Hey, Rob, let me ask you this though. You know, as a father, because I know you're a father, I know you got kids. You know, me too. So, like, if you was ever put in that situation or some kind of sticky situation, something like that, where your kids had something to do with, you know, a situation like that, like, what would you be saying to your sons, or you know what I'm saying, to your kids, you know what I'm saying, just in that kind of situation? Yeah, whether they was, you know, whatever kind of involvement they had, you know what I'm saying, just
I'm gonna tell them, man, you got to sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? It kind of reminds me of remember when I want to say it was the 90s. Pops Jay Prince had the DEA, crooked DEA officers, like trying to set them up and line them up, like even to the point where I think in his book he said that they pulled into a Burger King parking lot or something like that, and shit, that like the crooked DEA cat was out there ready to kill him. You know what I'm saying? So that makes me think like, yo, for them people to have it in for you like that, they ain't no statute of limitations on revenge. You know what I'm saying? And so but as me personally, as a father, I would definitely tell my children, hey man, you got to sit down. I would, hey, like Deasia said, it's time for y'all to act like businessmen, right? You know what I mean? Especially if you want to be out here in this free world. But at the same time, you fucking my shit up too. This is the family.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
This is the Prince name. This is the Prince family.
It's
right?
Legacy. Now I gotta, you know, not the family, whoever coming up out the money, we gotta come up out of, you know what I mean? So,
right.
You know?
That's what it kind of feel like. I think y'all both was kind of right when it feels like it's kind of tarnishing his legacy. I saw something on YouTube today. One thing that I hope doesn't happen is I saw a lot of videos from people from Atlanta that were talking like a Atlanta Houston thing, and it's that's the last thing we need in the game right now. We've already been through that before. You know what I'm saying?
And it's been boiling too. It just didn't start with this incident. You know what I'm saying? It's been, you know, when Sauce Walker was getting into it with certain cats.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and
right.
Yeah, man. And then, you know, Charleston got to certain cats from Atlanta. So this Texas Atlanta shit is kind of been boiling a little bit, man. So hopefully nobody else, you know, gets hurt.
Right.
Coming from this shit. Shit crazy, man. But I understand being a father trying to navigate and deter your children from certain lifestyles and shit. Because I've been through that, you know what I'm saying? And it ain't easy. It ain't easy, man. And we're gonna see how this shit turn out.
Yeah,
for sure. And with that being said, we're gonna answer the hip hop trivia question, guys. I didn't see anybody try to answer the question throughout the duration of the show, but y'all definitely have been coming, and so we appreciate that. But the hip hop trivia question is, what does Kane and Big Daddy Kane stand for? I have absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. So we like to ask our guests first. Right? Do you have an idea of what it?
Yeah. What was it? King Asiatic. Was it? Damn, I didn't forgot. What was?
So it was some 5% of stuff in King.
Hey,
it is.
That's all I know. I don't know the N.G.E.
Okay,
Yeah.
King
Oh,
Asiatic.
King
What N
Asiatic
stand for?
something.
Now?
King Asiatic. Nobody's equal.
Equal. That's right. We should know that, man.
Okay.
We should know
Okay.
that. I guess I need to go to.
You need, hey, come on back to the hip hop school. You've been
Yeah,
skipping class, man.
you learn something new every Monday.
You've been skipping class, man. You
Skipping
know,
class.
hey.
Unbelievable.
Oh, you dropped out of the hip hop
I know.
school?
Nah, he ain't dropped out.
Nah, he
yeah,
just don't go to class all the time.
Y'all know, because I'm real sensitive anymore. You know, I get the feeling away. I've been touched you out of your inbox. Don't do that.
Nah, that's one of the things that I feel like is dope about what y'all do is how it is the people are incorporated, right? Like it's not just
that's what it's
thoughts
about.
and opinions of
that's
y'all.
why we here.
Yeah, exactly. It is people. See, when people see like people that might be new that come into the show, y'all get new followers every day. They might not understand like where the whole concept of the hip hop school comes from. They don't realize like shit goes down.
It goes down. It's a
Shit
triple
goes down in the hip hop school.
You definitely better pack your tools.
Yeah.
I've been in Facebook jail. I've been kind of disappointed. Ain't nobody really y'all in there acting like y'all scared to say something about certain shit. I'm going to crank that bitch right back up.
And go get right back in jail. That's the Kyrie and the Kanye West of the group. Like he don't
why he
give a
relate
damn.
to him.
He got about 60 days in Facebook jail. Sentences that I ain't never heard of. Like he be the first one to get a long ass sentence that you ain't never seen before. It's like
count all the pages in jail, man.
Right.
I've been doing good.
Hey, but you got anything coming up on the show? Anything? Got any special episodes?
Oh man,
coming up you want to talk
Monday
about?
I got Baba Amin on, man.
Baba Amin.
Yeah, y'all make sure y'all tune into that one. That was a fun one, man. And for those that don't know, that's the person that did the intro to the hip hop school, but he's a great scholar, activist, MC, and all that, man. So definitely.
Baba Amin had a whole
he been on here. He been on here. And we had a show with him, and he done. We get people to jump in and everything like that. He done came in and gave his 2 cents or whatever. Mm-hmm. He always dropping gems.
Yeah,
so I know this gonna be fire.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be tuned in for sure.
Yes, indeed. Well, your podcast is Wise the Dome
TV. Yeah, Wise the Dome TV.
Yeah, so those of you that are listening, go over there and check him out. Very good content. Sure he just went over 1,000 subscribers. Yes, all the way up from here.
Sir, yes, sir.
Support, like, share, all that good stuff. If you like what you saw here tonight, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're about to tune out. Have a good one.
Peace.
The Hip Hop School, Past and Present Podcast.